The highest activity a human being can attain is learning for understanding, because to understand is to be free. The more you struggle to live, the less you live. Give up the notion that you must be sure of what you are doing. Instead, surrender to what is real within you, for that alone is sure. You are above everything distressing. I do not know how to teach philosophy without becoming a disturber of the peace. No matter how thin you slice it, there will always be two sides. If you want the present to be different from the past, study the past. Everything excellent is as difficult as it is rare. I have made a ceaseless effort not to ridicule, not to bewail, nor to not to scorn human actions, but to understand them. The more clearly you understand yourself and your emotions, the more you become a lover of what is. Peace is not the absence of war. It is a virtue, a state of mind, a disposition of benevolence, confidence, justice. Those who wish to seek out the cause of miracles and to understand the things of nature of philosophers and not to stare at them in astonishment like fools are soon considered heretical and impious and proclaimed as such by those whom the mob adores as the interpreters of nature and the gods. For these men know that once ignorance is put aside, that wonderment would be taken away, which is the only means by which their authority is preserved. Do not weep, do not wax indignant. Understand, when a man is prey to his emotions, he is not his own master. What Paul says about Peter tells us more about Paul than about Peter. Peter, pumpkin eater. I have striven not to laugh at human actions, not to weep at them, nor to hate them, but to understand them. Be not astonished at new ideas, for it is well known to you that a thing does not therefore cease to be true because it is not accepted by many. Emotion, which is suffering, ceases to be suffering as soon as we form a clear and precise picture of it. I would warn you that I do not attribute to nature either beauty or deformity, order or confusion, only in relation to our imagination. Can things be called beautiful or ugly, well ordered or confused? I'm so far, and so far as the mind sees that things in their eternal aspect, it participates in eternity. There is no hope mingled with fear, and no fear mingled with hope. Then David understand is the first and only basis of virtue. Fervor conceive, I beg, that a stone while continuing in motion should be capable of knowing, thinking, and that it is endeavoring as far as it can to continue to move. Such a stone, being conscious merely of its own endeavor and not at all indifferent, will believe itself to be completely free and would think that it continued in motion solely because of its wish, because of its own wish. This is that human freedom which all boast about, that they possess, and which consists solely in that fact that men are conscious of their own desire, but are ignorant of the causes whereby that desire has been determined. Not know to laugh, not to lament, not to detest, but to understand. Pride is a pleasure arising from a man's thinking too highly of himself. The greatest secret of a monarchic rule is to keep men deceived in the cloak and auspicious name of religion, of the fear by which they must be checked, so that they will fight for slavery as they would for salvation, and will think it not shameful but a most honorable achievement to give their life and blood, that one man may have a ground for boasting. A free man thinks of nothing less than of death, and his wisdom is a meditation not on death but on life. There can be no hope without fear, and no fear without hope. Happiness is not the reward of virtue, but is virtue itself. Nor do we delight in happiness because we restrain from our lusts, but on the contrary, because we delight in it. Therefore, we are able to restrain them. Of all the things that are beyond my power, I value nothing more highly than to be allowed the honor of entering into bonds of friendship with people who sincerely love truth. For of things beyond our power, I believe there is nothing in the world which we can love with tranquility except such men. In practical life, we are compelled to follow what is more probable and speculative thought. We are compelled to follow truth. Better that right counsels be known to enemies than that the evil secrets of tyrants should be concealed from the citizens. They who can treat secretly of the affairs of the nation have it absolutely under their authority. Respect my authority, as they plot against the enemy in time of war, so do they against the citizens in time of peace. We feel and experience ourselves to be eternal. It is the part of a wise man, I say, to refresh and restore himself in moderation with pleasant food and drink, with sense of the beauty of green plants, with decoration, music, sports, of the theater and other things of this kind which anyone can use without injury to another. The minds, however, are conquered not by arms, but by love and nobility. He who seeks to regulate everything by law is more likely to arouse vices than to reform them. It is best to grant what cannot be abolished, even though it be in itself harmful. How many evils spring from luxury, envy, avarice, drunkenness, and the like, yet these are tolerated because they cannot be prevented by legal enactments. None are more taken in by flattery than the proud who wish to be the first and are not. Men are mistaken in thinking themselves free. Their opinion is made up of consciousness of their own actions and ignorance of the causes by which they are determined. The supreme mystery of the despotism, the supreme mystery of despotism is prop and stay, is to keep men in a state of deception, and with the specious a title of a religion to cloak the fear by which they must be held in check, so that they will fight for their servitude as if for salvation. Hatred is increased by being reciprocated, and can, on the other hand, be destroyed by love. Hatred, which is completely vanquished by love, passes into love, and love is thereupon greater than I'd hatred. Not had not preceded it. The superstitious know how to reproach people for their vices better than they know how to teach them virtues, and they strive not to guide men by reason, but to restrain them by fear, so that they flee the evil rather than love virtue. Such people aim only to make others as wretched as they themselves are. So it is no wonder that they are generally burdensome and hateful to men. All things excellent are as difficult as they are rare. He alone is free who lives with free consent under the entire guidance of reason. And I am convinced I am Baruch Spinoza forever, ever, spita, spada.